Good evening. Don't have a particular topic. Yeah, I do. I was riding my bike, and when I ride my bike, things come to me, and I think about stuff. But then I kind of forget the stuff a little bit later. So that's why I like making the videos. It's just my thoughts, you know, and part of, I try not to explain stuff. I just want to share, because everything's just all relative and based off the observer. Kind of wanted to share with you what part of my intention is in sharing what I share, because I like to keep things simple. This journey actually started for me when I was 14, when I was first introduced to, officially introduced to religion, Southern Baptist. So, as a young man, I gained my thoughts and opinions and went through the whole process of getting baptized and saved and all that stuff. And in the past, I've learned that uh, it's interesting some of the views or what other people think my beliefs are. And that, it's whatever it is, whatever they think, that's fine. If they want clarification, they'll ask me, and I'll tell them my thoughts and feelings on it. I have come to the point where I try not to have labels, as I often say. I used to not like to repeat myself, but then I'm like, there's so much. I learned so much, and that's why I started doing the yin yang, the this versus that, because it always seemed like there was one person that said this and one person that said this, and it was conflicting and confusing. And so I'm like, man, how do I make this simpler for myself? And sometimes, oh, there's a saying. I had a good saying, but it does it, it eludes me at the moment. But sometimes I have to go deep to keep things simple. It's kind of like the analogy that I came up with earlier today was, which one's this one's been used before to me. Water. If you ask how do you get water, and somebody will take you to the sink and say, "Here, you turn the water on, and water comes out." Now, most of us know that there's a whole lot more to it, right? I mean, that water is coming through a pipe, and I mean, miles and miles. If you think about it, it's mind-boggling where that water comes from, the process that it goes through to get clean, get through here. Same thing with electricity. Uh, how it gets into your house, and the miles and miles and miles. Uh, so, see, I had a point. I had a point earlier, but a lot of stuff has happened since I've been on my bike. Uh, I try just to start to shoot the video. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. This isn't functioning properly. And a lot of times I get a little frustrated, but I'm like, well, that's part of the process. That's part of the journey. And if all I wanted to do was just sit down and watch TV, that would be easier, right? I could just sit there and watch TV, and I wouldn't have to deal with whether the AirPods were connecting or whether the audio is working or whether this device is working or whatever. But I'm extra. Those that expect more, more is expected of them. So I want more, so I have to do more to get more, and that's just part of the process. And I've tried to embrace that, and it's a challenge almost every day to embrace the journey. Uh, Bless you. I'll get back to my previous point, but it was maybe this is another video. Nah, this kind of fits. Stupid. I say stupid a lot. I don't call people stupid. I don't call people idiot. I don't call people names. And if I do, it's a lapse in character. I try very hard not to. People do stupid things and make stupid choices, perhaps, and I don't like that word. But I would find myself doing something like when I have to put something together, and the way that it's the parts that they use or the way they do it, I'm like, man, this is really stupid. Perhaps to the person that was designing it, it seemed smart at the time. So I try to change that because stupid is a negative term. I try to be careful what I say, what I put out. I think it makes a difference. So I've tried to change that to this isn't the way I would do it. So anyway, that's something that's been bouncing around in my head that I wanted to share. I know I talk a lot about results, the choices, decisions, what you do, and results. You know, what kind of results are you getting? Well, the results that you get depend on the choices that you make, and it depends on what you want to do. So, bottom line is what you want, and are you getting it? I kind of talked about this the other day. So I know I've talked to people before, about their results and stuff, and it kind of came off wrong maybe, and they took it wrong. And that's part of communicating is understanding someone else of what they mean because certain words mean certain things to certain people. It's not just the same all across the board. When somebody says, I'm on my way, to some people, that's they're walking out the door. I'm on my way. To some people means they're leaving in 10 minutes. This seems fuzzy. I don't know if the camera's dirty, but as long as you guys can hear me. So anyway, going back to the beginning, where sometimes I go deep. As I share this, I try to choose my words wisely because, like, I shared a video today, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, he goes into the scientific aspect, as quantum physics and everything, on how you get what you want out of life, the law of attraction and all that good stuff, and vibration and frequencies. And for me, I like going there because it gives me a better understanding. But I know when I share that with some people, it's like, what? Uh, it's kind of like, I guess for me, to keep things in my mind, trying to get through life and understanding things, you have the spiritual people that are over here that do the the spiritual stuff, and then you have the religious people, and then I'm kind of in the middle because I do kind of both sides, and I don't like to go to an extreme, but that's just me. But you have to do if you're wanting certain results, you have to say, what do I want? How do I get it? And what I'm doing is, am I getting the results? So as I share this with everyone, we do all vibrate. I mean, it's proven we're on vibrations, we're on frequencies. It's there's frequencies. Your thoughts are frequencies, just like your cell phone. Each cell phone has a frequency, and that's how you connect with people. And it because I try to involve all aspects. Uh, the religious aspect, the Bible, science, common sense, just reality. So vibrations, when you say we're not vibrating at the same level, it's kind of uh, it's kind of like when somebody says we're not on the same sheet of music. You're not playing at the same. Music is frequencies, right? When someone says we're not on the same wave, that's an oscillator wavelengths on a oscillator screen. Those are frequencies. That's a frequency. So when things are out of sync, they're out of frequency, they're out of wave. I don't think that really necessarily means on the same wave on an ocean. So, there's these quotes and analogies that we use in these little phrases, birds of a feather flock together. Those all have a deeper meaning. Uh, and it all comes back down to the same thing about getting what you want. So, as I'm sharing, part of what I'm trying to do right now is just that I'm babbling, but I'm trying to give some content to what some of these words mean to me, and when I say them, what they mean, because that's critical when you're in a relationship with with people, whatever kind of relationship, personal, work, friend, uh, understanding what they mean, their mannerisms, uh, their intention. It's like when people say, I get your vibe. It's all. This has been around for a long time. A lot of the books that I read were written in the 1800s and the early 1900s. So this has been around, and it's in the Bible as well. It's been muddled and hidden down. Just it's not. It's there. I think. Yeah. So kind of today was I don't know, it was a little challenging. So and I can tell. A buddy of mine once said, when you get angry, you lower your IQ. And ask yourself when you get upset, that then things start to roll downhill. When you're doing something and you get angry, it just kind of gets worse and worse. So as someone that puts things together, which I'm on my way out of doing that, trying to choose my words wisely. But when I've got other stuff, when I'm not focused completely on that, and I've got other stuff that's going on personally, bouncing around in my head, it it gets a little frustrating. Then when the the manufacturer does something that like a piece is missing, or they reuse the wrong type of parts, or they do something that like just doesn't, it's illogical compared to, since it's what I do for a living, when I do stuff, 9 times out of 10, it's done this way, and then they do it a different way, and it's like, well, it just doesn't make sense, and then it throws you off, and then you get frustrated, and I try to keep myself out of that space. So, uh, and I'm partly laying the foundation because as I go forward, my goal is to prove that we do get what we think. Do you think about what you have because you have it, or do you have because that's what you thought about? Was it a thought and then you got it? And I think for the most part, that's it. So that's why when something goes wrong, whether it's with someone in a relationship or with a car or with work or a job, I look at me first. I can't control everything because there are a lot of other people with other intentions. But I got one for you. A lot of people say the present, it's called the present because it's a gift. Well, you have the past. The past that was a second ago is the past. It's done, it's gone, I can't do anything about it. The future is the next second. Not much I can do about that. But the present, if you break that word down, is present. So your thoughts, what you think about, what you feel, what you expect, you're pre-sending that to the future. And when you get there, it's something that's pre-sent. And that's something I'm working on because that's at a cellular level. That's at the quantum physics. That's how you, and that's where it gets a little scientific-y. I really haven't uh, figured out how to put it in any other words than it's a frequency like a radio station or a cell phone. Like if I want to call someone, I have to dial a certain number. That number is on a certain frequency to connect with that person. One number off, I'm not getting in touch with them. So if there's something I want, I have to be feeling and expecting at that frequency to get it. And in the future, which when I get there, it's the present. It has been pre-sent. So if when I think about it, when I think about the things that I've gotten that I've really wanted, I had an intention on I'm getting that. I'm going to achieve this goal or get this thing. And you were like each day you walked like you were walking towards it because you knew you were going to get it. You were going to do whatever it had to do. And opportunities came up, opportunities arose. You let people know what was going on, what you were doing. And they're like, oh, hey, by the way, this person's doing this. Maybe they have something that can help. And then before you know it, things started falling into place. And the stronger that you believe that, the faster that it will happen. That's my belief. Uh, I believe I was accused before of wanting to be Jesus-like, and I'm like, no, I just want to be happy and have what I want. I don't want to go around healing people. I don't want to turn wine into water. It would be great to be at that level. I think some people have the ability to achieve that. I won't. Some people that I follow in the world media, that the things they say and the things they do, and I see the results over the years that they've gotten, and I'm like, they're on to something. But it's a journey, and that's why we're here. It's not meant. I don't think it was meant to happen instantaneously, because that's part of the deliciousness of life, is to enjoy the journey. And uh, I think there's a basic formula for it. And I think that's you have to know what you want, and you just have to unequivocally expect it and believe it. And as soon as you doubt it, you start pulling away from it, or it stops. It's starting to gather for you. It's being pre-sent. It's being set up for you. And then as soon as you stop believing it, yeah, I'm flexing on purpose. Uh, it kind of goes away, and then you start to believe in it again, and there it comes. And we start to doubt ourselves. We start doubting whether we deserve it, or if it's the right time, or if it's the right moment. And what I'm speaking about, again, there's always two sides to everything. You don't need to know the how, but there is a how. There's steps in a process. There's steps you need to take. You can't just sit here and, like, for example, I want a motorcycle. I can't sit here and expect somebody to knock on the door and say, "Hey, man, you just want a motorcycle." Can it happen? Absolutely. How it's going to happen, I don't know. Maybe my neighbors or somebody says, "Hey, whatever. I got a motorcycle. I just need to get rid of that. I just need a few $100s for it, or whatever." But I know that I'm getting the motorcycle. I already see it. Um, I'm not. I'm looking for the inspired, opportunistic actions to take. Right? In conversation, I may just say, "Hey, yeah, I'm looking for a motorcycle." I don't have to know exactly what kind I want. I mean, I have a picture. Uh, so anyway, one of the things I like to do is have some feedback. That was another thing I wanted to share. I feel, the movie Captain Hook, or not Captain Hook, just Hook, the Peter Pan movie, when Tinker Bell, when he says, "I don't believe in fairies," and she starts to die, and she goes, "I'm gonna die. You got to clap your hands. You got to clap your hands, Peter." I kind of feel I feel like that's what people do on Facebook. When give me a like, give me a share, give me a shout out, tell me where you're from. I know people listen to my stuff because I hear about it later. So uh, it is nice to know that people are listening and interested. Damn it, I had a reason for that comment, but now it eludes me. Well, unfortunately, if there was a pause, and I don't know why, maybe somebody will fix that one day, that there's not a pause where you can't pause the video instead of stopping it, and then you got to go run it through and edit it. That's why I have pauses, because I'm not going to pause the video or stop the video and then start it up again and then have to go download the whole thing into an editor. Um, and now I'm just babbling until that thought comes back. Uh, yeah, I don't have the answers. I never claim to. I have my opinions, my beliefs, my experiences. What I this is It's like an experiment for me. So what? Uh, yeah, okay. The clapping of the hands. Uh, Share with me, because what I do with all this stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it and see how it works. See if I can get what I want by thinking about it, and see what happens. And I can use examples, and most people that I know have examples of how they wanted something and eventually they got it. You can put whatever reasons or process, but you can break it down to some fundamentals of what you did to get there. And I believe that one of them is whatever you wanted, you believe that you were going to get it, because that's just psychological. That in order to continue to go after it, you have to believe that you're going to get it. So to me, that's one of the main things, and what speeds that up is the feeling. Is you wake up and you're like, oh man, I know what that feels like. There's a saying, so people say, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, the truth is you'll see it when you believe it. So you have to believe it first. That's where the phrase act as if, or fake it till you make it. You got to feel like you already have that that partner sitting next to you, what that feels like to be loved and cherished, or what it feels like to have that new car. Oh man, I can just feel it. I'm gonna walk out and I'm gonna go get in my car. You don't have to sit there and pretend, but it has to be part of your being, and that makes it quicker, because there's two ways to do it. There's the belief, and then there's the desire to go get it. It's one is harder than the other. When someone has a really strong belief, they can make something happen like that. Like the story with the grandma that picks the car up off her grandchild. If she sat there and said, "Well, I could do that if I went to work out and blah blah blah," but her belief was stronger, or desire, whichever. I don't know how exactly. It's a play on words, I guess, at some point. All right, we're going long here, but I'm trying to keep myself motivated, because it's tough with just doing it. There's some people on Facebook that are very inspiring. Their words are. I try to watch videos and listen to videos, and I try to stay in that mode. but I I just know, I mean, just like, this everything I'm living right now is a manifestation of a desire that I had. It's just it's bigger than that. I want more, and there's nothing wrong with wanting more. Be very happy with what you have, be grateful, but you don't have to settle unless you want to. Like I said, it's and that's something I have to make very clear, and I'll say it again and again, over and over. These are all my opinions. This is if somebody's yeah, whatever. If you're wanting to hear it, if you're wanting more out of life, that's something I'm going to say will resonate with you, because that's where I'm going. Whether it's your health, whether it's a partner, whether it's a house, a job, money, it's 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 all there for you. Uh, yeah. All right. That's it. That's all I have for today. Uh, yeah. All right. No, I haven't been drinking.